Hi, everyone. Like Hope said, my name's Allison. I'm a registered dietitian. I am at Mary Bird Perkins in Houma, and I hope you enjoy today's presentation. So today's topic is nutrition resolutions for a healthier you. And I know it might sound a little crazy that we're talking about New Year's resolutions in April, but as you'll see in further slides, there's a kind of fall off when it comes to just health, fitness, and just resolutions in general. So I wanted to take today to give you some tips on how to reignite your nutrition resolutions or just your resolutions in general surrounding your health. So first, I want to start with the history of the New Year's resolution. So if anyone didn't know, now you can say that you do. The ancient Babylonians are actually the first known people to make New Year's resolutions about 4,000 years ago. So it's been a little while. They were the first to hold their recorded celebrations in honor of a new year, but their new year was mid-March. So their new year actually just recently passed. And it was revolving around when their crops were planted. So present day, obviously, our new year starts January 1st. And instead of making promises to the gods, as the Babylonians did, we typically tend to make New Year's resolutions to ourselves. And majority of the time, it is self-improvement focused. So according to research, approximately 45% of Americans say that they make a New Year's resolutions, but only 8% are successful in achieving that goal, which is such a small number. So I'm hoping that today you get some tips and tricks and can reignite your New Year's resolution. We can call it a new April resolution. So as this graph shows, the Forbes One Health One poll, showed that the average resolution lasts only 3.74 months. So that would be January, February, March. So once March hits, not everyone, majority of the people tend to get off the wagon. So we're here in April and we're going to hopefully reignite that for you. And as this says, if you've fallen off the wagon, it's quite all right. You don't have to think of New Year's resolutions only associated with the new year. We can make resolutions every week. We can make resolutions once a month. We can keep going with them. Just because we were not successful with what we originally intended to doesn't mean that you didn't have success along the way. So just because you didn't hit your end goal when you anticipated, it doesn't mean you didn't have progress. So don't think of it as you've fallen off the wagon. Don't think of it as you failed. Think of it as minor setback, and we're going to keep going. So these are the 10 things that we will cover today, and these are just 10 ways to help you achieve your health and fitness-based New Year's resolutions. 1, become familiar with food labels. 2, follow physical activity guidelines. 3, consume enough fiber. 4, use herbs and spices. 5, stay adequately hydrated. 6, put your weight into perspective. 7, enjoy your diet. 8, avoid fad diets. 9, stay positive. And 10, talk to a professional. So food labels. I know everyone has seen one, and I'm sure you've looked at it quite a few times, but sometimes you don't really know what you're looking for. So we want to make sure that when we're choosing products, that we're choosing ones that are ideal for our goals. So I'm kind of going to go over what some of the categories on the food label. So the first thing would be the serving size. So you want to make sure that you are eating the appropriate serving size for what your goal is. So if your goal is to eat what is on the label, what is stated here. So let's say this one on screen was 230 calories. So you only can have a serving size of 2/3 a cup. If you're just willy-nilly with your serving or you're eating straight out the bag, you're not really looking, it's easy to get extra that we're not really paying attention and we're not mindful of. So also look at the nutrients per serving. So the label is going to give you that serving size, and that label shows you what is in that serving. So for this one example, the calories would be 230 calories for 2/3 of a cup. Then we want to look at the total fat. If we are trying to go for a lower fat diet, we need to make sure that that number is not relatively high. So if you're looking at 2/3 of a cup and say this label said 25 grams of fat, well, that's kind of high, being we don't want a super high fat diet, most individuals. So we can use that to kind of make judgment calls of this is the product for us. Saturated fat, so our goal is less than 10% of your total calories per day should come from saturated fat. So you can see on this label, this product has 1 gram. So in the grand scheme of a 2,000 calorie diet, that is 5%. So we can make that judgment call if we know what we're looking for. Trans fat, so we do want to avoid or minimize intake of trans fats. Mostly comes from more processed products. So if you're looking at the ingredient list, anything with hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils typically do have trans fats. And you can also look in the section on the label that says trans fats. It'll give you a number and how much is in that product. Sodium, so the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics recommend less than 23 milligrams of sodium per day. So if we're choosing a product that has 600 milligrams of sodium per serving and we're eating 2 servings, that's a large portion of our sodium consumption for the day. So again, just being knowledgeable and aware to look at some of these items. So your total carbohydrates are also on this, and then under that is divvied up into your daily dietary fiber, just your dietary fiber, and then your sugars, total sugars and added sugars. So the recommendation for dietary fiber is different for males and females. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics recommends 25 grams a day for a female and 38 grams a day for a male. And then the added sugars, so we ideally would want to have a lower added sugar consumption in our days. The recommendation from the American Heart Association is less than 25 grams a day for females. And then a recommendation for a male is less than 36 grams a day of added sugar. So protein is the last thing in the main section of that food label. And when you're looking at building a meal, a whole meal, you want to try to have at least 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. So this individual item has 3 grams of protein. So if this was considered our source of protein for the meal, it would be considered relatively low, being we want to try to have 25 to 30 grams. So from that, we can then try to see if there's alternatives or better choices to meet that goal of 25 to 30 grams at a meal. At the bottom, they do have different vitamins and minerals. So we do want to look at that if we're looking for certain vitamins and minerals in our diet. And then just a suggestion from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So when we're looking at the percent daily value on the right, that is allotted for a 2,000 calorie diet, and not everyone consumes a 2,000 calorie diet. But just rule of thumb, if it is 5% or less, that is considered a low source of that particular item. So like cholesterol, for instance, on this is 0%. This product is considered a low source of cholesterol. If it's 20% or more, that's considered a high source. So let's take this one for instance as well. So the added sugars was 10 grams, and for a 2,000 calorie diet, it's 20%. So that is considered a high source of added sugar. So maybe we need to find a different alternative if we're trying to look at reducing our added sugars. Number 2 would be physical activity. So I know you hear exercise, but what does that look like? So the American College of Sports Medicine exercise guidelines, healthy adults aged 18 to 65, you want to combine both aerobic and strength exercises. So for moderate intensity is about 30 minutes a day, 5 times a week. Or if you're doing vigorous activities, that would be 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week. So whatever your fitness goals are for your aerobic, you can kind of choose one of those. And then for anyone in the age category, 18 to 65, incorporate at least 2 days of strength training per week. We do tend to lose muscle as we're aging. So if you incorporate more than that, that is absolutely fine, but a minimum of 2 days per week so that we can keep our muscles strong. We don't want to diminish them. We don't want to lose them from underuse. And exercise can look like whatever you want it to. So it can be gym workouts if you like the gym setting. It can be dancing if you like Zumba, or just dance around your house for 30 minutes. Who doesn't love that? Biking, really anything you enjoy doing, but try not to use your household chores as your physical activity if possible. So let's say folding the clothes, going up the stairs. Yes, that is physical activity, but we want to try to allot a certain amount of time for our purposeful activity. And you can see by the chart, this is just some examples from MD Anderson of what an hour an hour's worth of activity would burn based on the different pound categories. So everyone will burn calories different, and then your intensity varies, so your burn will be different, but it's a good at least guidance to kind of see what an hour would look like. So number 3 is fiber. And I don't know if you've heard, but this is the year of fiber. So we're going to try to get more fiber in our diet. So what fiber does is it helps keep you full longer. So when you're eating a lower fiber, more processed diet, you tend to start looking for the next meal relatively quickly because it's low in fiber. It's not keeping you full. So fiber can also help with lowering your cholesterol. It can help with your bowel management, your bowel stability. It can help with blood sugar regulation. It can help with promoting a healthy weight. And it can also help reduce the risk of colon and intestinal alterations, including colon cancer. So fiber is very important, and we need it every day, all day, every meal. So how much do we need? We need 38 grams per day for a male and 25 grams per day for a female. And you can go above that. It's not a cutoff. So this is minimum. We want to try to at least meet those recommendations. How do we get fiber? So fiber is found mostly in plant foods, as much color, fruit, vegetables, whole grains, beans, lentils, nuts, seeds. All of that will help increase your dietary fiber intake. Like I was saying previously, the more processed the food is, typically the lower its fiber content. So when we're eating a very ultra processed kind of fast on the go diet, we typically are not meeting our daily fiber intake goals. So strive to consume a blend of both insoluble and soluble fiber unless stated otherwise by a medical professional. And if you are having a lower intake of fiber currently and you're working on striving to increase more within the day, try to do slowly. Goal would be about 2 to 3 grams per day to let your stomach, your digestive system adapt to more fiber, and make sure you're drinking enough water. We don't want to underhydrate when we're consuming more fiber. So I just put a little example of different types of fiber. So like I was mentioning, the soluble fiber and the insoluble fiber. We do particularly want a blend of both of them, but also soluble fiber can help improve diarrhea. It helps slow down the digestive tract because it turns into a gel once consumed. Insoluble fiber attracts water to the stool, so it pulls it in, which can help with constipation. So if you're having either of those challenges GI-wise, you can tend to go more one towards the other so that you can kind of help with your digestive challenges. Number 4 would be utilize herbs and spices. So herbs and spices help enhance the flavor of your food while reducing our reliance on the ever dreaded sodium, sugar, and fat. So the more processed the food is, typically the more sugar, sodium, or fat content, because that's the flavorful part of it. So if we're cooking our foods with more herbs and spices, we can have that flavorfulness without relying on some of those other factors that we don't want a high intake of in our diet. And also, herbs and spices can provide anti-inflammatory benefits, which in the oncology world is super beneficial. So ginger, parsley, rosemary, oregano, clove, sage, all of those have antioxidant benefits, which are good for our health. It helps reduce our inflammation. And also it helps boost up the flavor of your food, which can increase your enjoyment and help with sustainability. So why not include that and at every meal? Oops, I apologize. Number 5, hydration. I talk with my patients every day, all day about being hydrated. So typical benefits from hydration: it helps with your temperature regulation. It helps lubricate and cushion your joints. It helps protect your spinal cord and other sensitive tissues. And it does help with waste and toxins removal through urination, perspiration, and bowel movement. So how much do we need? So that does vary based on your age, your sex, your activity level, and your health conditions. But typical recommendation from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics state that women need approximately 9 cups per day and men need approximately 13. So when I strive to at least, again, meet this minimum, if we're above and you don't have a medical condition that requires you to have more of a restriction, that's absolutely okay. And then tips for staying hydrated: carry a water bottle with you, out of sight, out of mind. So if you're not a thirsty person and you're not that person that typically just goes for water, if it's in front of you, then you're more prone to drinking it. And I don't know about you, but I'm a sucker for a pretty cup. So anything with a straw or pretty cup in front of me, I tend to drink more water. And it just might be me, but that is a good tip. Select water over sugar-filled beverages, so soda, sports beverages, fruit juices. And then when eating out, try to choose water as well. So it's cheaper, you save money, and then you save the empty calories. Those, again, add up really quickly, and they're not benefiting your health for the most part. You can enhance your flavor of water with fruit, you can use a lemon, lime wedges, or fruit-infused water bottles. Those are becoming more popular so that you can have the flavor, but you're not having the sugar and the additives that you would be getting if you're making your own beverage. And you want to minimize caffeine, alcohol, and other beverages that can negatively affect your hydration status. So not every beverage hydrates, and we have to keep that in mind, that just because we're drinking something doesn't mean it's hydrating us. Number 6, so put your weight into perspective. Weight is just a number, and unless you're really using like a body composition analysis, your weight can fluctuate and you don't really know where that's coming from. So we want to focus on other things other than the number on that scale. We want to focus on the way your clothes fit, the way you feel. Is your energy better since you've been making some of these changes? Assess your physical ability. Are you able to do more reps, lift heavier reps, run a little bit longer, walk a little bit longer? So assess your physical capabilities and measurements. So measurements are another way, number tracking. Some people do like numbers, but it's another way that we can track data, but not just rely on that scale number. So you and I could have the same number on the scale, but our body composition can be completely different. One can be healthier body composition wise than the other. So again, the scale is not the end all be all. And like this says, the individual can appear healthy on the outside. So someone could be of an ideal body weight, but still have body composition insufficiency. So if they have not enough muscle mass and they have a lot of body fat, that doesn't mean they're healthy just because they fit into a healthy BMI. So body composition has come a very long way, and it's very important to use as part of your tracking. This is just some examples of what I was explaining essentially. So over here at Mary Bird and Homa, we use the InBody scale. It's a body composition scale. We use it with our patients, and this kind of shows the differences in body composition. So the first one is an I, basically, and it's not a curve, but an I reading. So they have equal muscle mass and body fat. So that's your okay. We'll call it an okay. It's not bad, it's not great, but it's okay. D in the middle is your best. So that's kind of ideal. That's what we want to strive to have. We want to have more skeletal muscle mass than we do body fat. That shows more of a balance of what's going on internally. And C is what we see the most of, unfortunately, is low skeletal muscle mass and a higher body fat percentage. And metabolically, that's not the healthier option. That's not what we want to again strive for. And as we age, like I was saying, we tend to lose muscle mass. So if we don't know what our readings are or what our body is telling us, we don't know exactly how to pinpoint our suggestions and your recommendations. So finding a location that has a body composition analysis can definitely help kind of just give you an overall guidance of what some goals can be for you. And some benefits of achieving and maintaining a healthy body composition. Normalization or improvement in your blood pressure, improved quality of sleep, improved mood, self-confidence, energy, and endurance. Who doesn't want to feel better, be happier with it, how they feel, and be able to do more? Reduce pain in joints, hips, and lower back, improved blood circulation, which can lower your risk for heart disease. Higher fertility rates, lower risk for pregnancy-related complications, can help with blood sugar intolerance and insulin sensitivity, and it can reduce risk for cancer development because we do have a higher cancer probability the more body fat and the more metabolically unhealthy we are. 7, so we want to enjoy your diet. So I love to tell my patients, your diet should not have an end date. It should not be, I'm doing this for 6 weeks and I'm going to see how I feel. Your diet should be something that you should be able to sustain long term because we're making health and lifestyle changes. We're not doing this temporary fix. And it's not a one size fit all approach. So your nutritional needs are very specific to your body. It's based on your age, your gender, your height, your weight, activity level, your body composition, medical condition. So you need to work with a professional that can factor all of this in for you to give you the right guidance. Aim to follow the USDA MyPlate recommendations. I put a little image down there for you guys just to kind of show you that we do want to have a balanced plate. We don't want to have misproportions, because if we're having misproportions, we're consuming essentially too much and too little of the other portions. So that's an imbalanced plate. Number 8 would be avoid fad diets. Like I was saying, kind of piggyback on number 7, strict diets eliminate your food choices and they can leave you feeling overwhelmed. And that can also lead to yo-yo dieting because it's not sustainable. When you lose weight too quickly, it's highly likely that you'll lose things other than fat. So it might be muscle mass, bone mass, water retention, or water weight, basically, not always body fat. So we don't want to lose weight too quickly. We want a slow, steady, healthy weight loss, particularly gaining skeletal muscle mass and losing body fat. And if we lose weight too quickly, we're also more likely to regain that weight back, unfortunately. So like I was saying, slow, steady wins the race. We don't want anything too quick. Ways to spot a potential fad diet. So I know a large portion of the audience probably has been on social media before and you've seen the newest diet or the newest quick fix. So I want you to investigate, like this little guy right here, investigate what's being said. Any diet that promises a quick fix is probably not the healthiest diet. If you have to buy something to be successful, you need to investigate further. If it exclusively or severely restricts food groups or nutrients, it's probably not ideal. If it has extensive rules, it's probably not the best option. And if it has success claims without a credible research backbone, please dig deeper just to make sure that it is a healthy option. Number 9, stay positive. Avoid your negative self-talk. We want to be positive on our journey. Just because we've had a bump in the road or a setback doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't mean that it's still not an attainable goal. We just have to keep moving. Things get hard, but try to stay as positive as possible during those hard times and celebrate on the small wins. So if your New Year's resolution feels so far-fetched, make smaller goals so that you can hit these smaller goals to keep you motivated, because the far goals can feel so far and daunting. And sometimes we kind of talk ourselves out of it. I can't do that because it's just not attainable, but it is. We just have to take the time, and the small goals help. And try not to compare your journey to anyone else's journey. It's your health, your story. Try not to compare and get yourself down if something looks a little different than you thought. Support groups or accountability partners, those are wonderful to keep you on track and keep you motivated when the hard times kind of hit. And lastly, number 10 is talk to a professional. Registered dietitians are the professionals as far as the health realm. So we can definitely assist with your personal needs, your guidance, your recommendations, and we are always here and always ready to listen and help. And that is my references. That was it. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Okay, do we have any questions for Allison? All right, I have a question. What do you recommend for a healthy breakfast? Do you recommend fasting in the morning or?
So that would be, I would say, individualized. It depends on what your goals are. I strive for my patients to have 3 balanced meals a day. The less processed the product, the better. So potentially no bacon, sausage, and having it within reason. If that's something that you really like, do nitrate free. You can make those healthier choices if those are items that you do like. But Greek yogurt parfaits are good, scrambled egg wraps. It can be anything. It doesn't even have to be breakfast foods. You can have healthy meals for breakfast time. It doesn't have to be breakfast food, or you can have breakfast for supper, whatever.
Any other questions for anyone? I must say for me, I thought the information about the in-body scale was most important
It
to
is.
see. I'm gonna have to look up, get some information on that, and maybe talk to my doctor as well, see how can I get that done.
I know, I
As
know.
often, at least once a year,
I
to
want to
see
get
where I
it
stand.
involved in your program and the mobile on the go because I think it would be such a preventative benefit, so we can get in touch.
Okay. I'll give you guys just a few more minutes. If you have any more questions, um, please type them in the chat. Again, I just want to thank Allison so much for your information. Very enlightening today. I really thank you for being a part of this Lunch and Learn for today. Thank you guys so much. If there aren't any questions, we're gonna conclude this Lunch and Learn today. And I thank you so much. Thanks for everyone for participating. And you guys, y'all can have a wonderful day.